I call upon Professor Salil Mishra, a friend of Sunil and a fellow traveler in the JNU campus, and today a professor of history in Ambedkar University, to come and give an introduction of Sunil.
Thank you, Mohanty. I am very aware that I am speaking to an audience, most of whom would have heard of Sunil, but would not have met him or seen him. I cannot really claim to be a very close friend of Sunil, but I think we did share the time and space together. By that I mean JNU of 1970s and 80s. I admired him greatly from a distance. I looked at him and admired him. In particular, there were two things which appealed to me. First, of course, was that Sunil combined the best of academics and the best of activism. The two actually fed into each other. You could not separate one from the other. Now, this for JNU was not very unusual. I mean, this was quite common for JNU, that students would be very active in politics, but also academically right at the top. Today's speaker, Sainath, is also a very fine specimen of this combination of activism and academics. But for the country, this is very, very rare. In other universities that you go to, you would find that there is a very neat separation between those who do academics and those who do politics, who are active politically. Not so for JNU. Sunil represented that. The second major trait, of course, was that he combined in his ideational universe both Gandhi and Marx. Both Gandhi and Marx, in a way, they were present in his worldview and they reinforced each other. They did not cut each other down. Gandhi was not an embarrassment for Marx, and Marx was not an embarrassment for Gandhi. And this, I thought, for those times was a very, very peculiar and a remarkable and an atypical trait in Sunil's politics, his academics, and his ideational universe. He was a Gandhian and a socialist in the best tradition of both, and devoted his life struggling for causes which were of significance from the perspective of equity, justice, and fairness. While he was in JNU, Sunil organized a march from Delhi to Amritsar. Remember, these were times after October 1984, after Delhi had seen some of the worst massacres. And he did it to help in healing the fractures that had been created between Hindus and Sikhs, particularly after the violence of 84. He did it at a time when communal tension was quite high and there were considerable risks in doing it. It was also not a very popular thing to do, but Sunil valued integrity and morality much more than the seductive charms of popularity and populism. In 1985, Sunil shifted to a village in Madhya Pradesh, and there he practiced a politics that was centered around the aspirations and concerns of the marginalized sections of Adivasis and peasants. Sunil successfully created cooperatives of people who had been displaced by the Tawa Dam. The Fishermen's Cooperative transformed the lives of thousands of Adivasis whose habitat had been destroyed by the building of the Tawa Dam. Sunil also took up issues related to children, their education in the villages. Here, the struggle was not so much about curriculum and pedagogy and all those high-sounding things, but about very simple things such as teaching, teachers coming to school, teaching students, because that was a big issue. Sunil raised these issues, he raised these demands, and that, just the raising of these issues, landed him in prison for a period of 6 months. Issues of human rights had a very strange way of appearing in the lives of Adivasis and in the context in which Sunil was operative. To give you one example, in the village of Budhni, at a point, almost everyone from the age group of 6 to 60 was arrested by the police on the charge that they had murdered a policeman. People were beaten up, they were arrested, they were beaten up. Police even claimed to have discovered the bones of the murdered policeman. Now, it is quite another matter that the same policeman returned home in a few days' time. He had just gone to his place. Sunil found himself surrounded by such issues and such an environment, such a landscape. These experiences led him to ask deeper questions about contemporary processes, particularly in relation to their application for the oppressed and the marginalized sections of the society. He reflected on these issues in his writings, which are both analytical and insightful. Some of those writings are available here. He witnessed from very close quarters the rural distress, and this led him to question many assumptions regarding our general ideas on modernity and on development. So the best of academics in a way returned, and it was combined with the best of politics. Sunil inspired many people by his writings, by his ideas, and by his speeches. But above all, he inspired people by the examples of his lived life, lived with his own convictions and his principles. It was indeed tragic that he passed away very early, at a time when he was in the prime of his life and he was making an enormous contribution to the lives of those around him. He had actually made a lot of difference to the lives of people around him, to his surroundings, and that was the time when he actually left us. It is in his memory that his friends decided to constitute a committee, and we organize lectures every year. Thank you very much. And today we are going to listen to Sainath.